You're listening to the RPM Podcast.
Listen to it with your ear holes.
And here we are again, episode 195 of the RPM Podcast. It is September 13th at 2021 at 8 p.m. Josh Matthews has us an hour and 4 minutes late. Me and Tim are ready at 7. Josh had some problems in the bathroom, so it took a little longer to
I had to poop.
Get the show going.
And my kid was holding me up.
Yeah, he's got to get his kid ready for bed before he comes to the podcast. So sometimes that takes longer than anything. So it's 8 o'clock. We're going to try to do a quick hour and a half show. Talk about Wall Stadium. We haven't been on in a while for obvious reasons. I mean, pretty much if Wall Stadium doesn't race, we really don't do a show. So they haven't raced in a while. They got rained out a bunch of times. Thankful for us, it was beautiful racing weather this Saturday. Perfect day for racing. I'm Scott Riggleman, your host of the RPM Podcast down here in Manchester, New Jersey. My brother Tim, America's Spotter, is up in Farmdale, New Jersey. Tim, how are you?
I'm good, ready to go.
Were you at the track Saturday night, Tim?
Yes.
Any spotting jobs going on? I know Jimmy Blewett wasn't there, and Anthony Sesley was there. Did you spot for Anthony or anybody else?
Unfortunately, mine and Anthony's scheduling got crossed up, and I didn't know he was racing, and Jimmy Blewett asked if I would spot for Ricky Collins, so I ended up spotting for Ricky Collins and not Anthony Sesley.
Anybody else? Any other divisions?
02, the Ryan
Fisher?
Fisher, yeah.
In the sportsman car?
Yes.
That's cool. All right, Tim. Josh, how are you doing down there in Waretown? Josh Matthews is the producer of the RPM Podcast, and we all rely on Josh because he's got the equipment. Pretty much is the reason why Josh is on the show.
It's Josh, his sandbox.
Hey, you ever hear the old story like with the Van Halen brothers? With Van Halen, they asked them like, "Why do you guys have David Lee Roth? You all hate him." Believe it or not, the story was David Lee Roth's father was like a doctor or a lawyer or something.
I thought it was a dentist.
A dentist. His family had a lot of money, and they said we needed David Lee Roth because he had the equipment. He had the amps and the mics and the guitars.
He had the van, too, I think.
He had the van. They had a garage behind their house. The father let him set up a studio. He paid for everything. So, Josh, you're our David Lee Roth.
But you're not rich.
You just have equipment.
Better than Sammy Hagar, I guess. Yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm also in the middle of ordering gaskets. My new carburetor for my boat came in. So,
all right. So, I got a pretty big announcement here. Believe it or not, for the first time in a very, very long time, all three of us were at the racetrack Saturday night. It's been a while since that happened.
It was a good show.
It really was.
I'm just gonna.
You know what? Not only some of the races weren't that great, but it was just felt good to be back at the racetrack again on a beautiful night where there was no threat of rain.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely gorgeous night.
It wasn't. I got a buzz, Josh.
Yeah, I'm hearing it too.
There was no humidity. It was nice and warm during the day. It cooled off a little bit when the sun went down. And it was either a long sleeve T-shirt or a light jacket type weather. No wind. Stars were shining. The moon looked great. It was like one of those thumbnail looking moons, like quarter moon or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the toenail moon.
Toenail moon, exactly what it looked like. It was just a perfect night for racing. And then on top of it, it kind of, because of all the rain, we kind of had like two themed nights that night. It kind of got pushed together. There was I think it was called American Pride Night. They were calling it for the 9/11. Of course, everybody knows about 9/11. Mm-hmm. And then the John Gasko Memorial Factory Stock Race was on the same night. So
and it was whatever the first aid guide night too.
Oh, really?
First responders.
First responders. Well, that's probably tied into the 9/11 thing. That's a great idea. I didn't know that, Tim. Thanks for bringing that up. So there was a lot going on at Wall Stadium. Plus the 3/4 midgets were there. They bring their own people in their own cars and crowd and stuff. It was a great night for racing. I mean,
did you see the crowd?
Oh my God! Everybody was comparing the crowd like Turkey Derby.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I had trouble trying to get a seat anywhere. I went all the way down to
turn
one. Yeah, it was really packed. It was very much a Turkey Derby type crowd. I mean, it was packed, and I will say, after the modifieds went, 90% of the crowd stuck around for the factory stocks, and then maybe 70% for the 4-cylinders.
Really?
to finish out the night. Yeah, it was a really good
I'll
crowd.
go a step further. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but we're just talking about the crowd. A lot of people came in the pits afterwards too. There was, it's been a long time since we've been able to do that, so that was good to see the fans back in the pits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that was a really good crowd. I saw a lot of familiar faces. If I got there earlier, I was going to get a pit pass, but because I got there right about feature time, I just got a regular grandstand pass, and I went in, after the races. And
right.
Yeah.
What time did you get to the track, Josh?
It was like just after 7:15, something like that.
Oh, yeah. So you're right there at the peak time to try to get a seat. You're kind of a little late to get a good seat. Tim, what time did you get to the track?
4 o'clock. The girls have been so hungry to go to the racetrack that we had to get there as quick as we could.
The line for the concession stands was, that was steady throughout the night. There was always people there getting food.
There were still people buying tickets at like 7:30.
Yeah,
to get in.
Oh yeah, I beat them by 15 minutes.
I should have been there 15 minutes sooner. They would have had to wait. That's because Josh was counting out change. He backed the whole line up behind him to try to buy a ticket.
You take pennies, right?
All right, before we get into the events, I just want to thank Nick Catone from Nick Catone's MMA Fighting over there in Bricktown. We still got to get that logo from Nick, Josh, and get it flashing on the screen. But yeah, the last episode we did, I forgot to thank him. I just wanted to thank Nick real quick for helping us and sponsoring the show. He was there racing with us Saturday night. He had a pretty good run, So we'll be talking a little bit more about Nick in a little while. But I just want to, mention that his gym over there in Bricktown. Where do you want to start, Josh? You want to start with the first feature? You want to talk about qualifying?
Let's get the bad news out of the way first.
Oh, yeah. My brother wants to bring the show down right away. Unfortunately, the last couple of days in racing took a hard hit with a lot of people passing away. First we'll start with Jim Morton. Jim Morton was the promoter of the racetrack right before the Krauses took over, and he pretty much bought it back from the dead. Like, it was kind of a forgotten thing.
It was closed for a year. Yeah.
Yeah, it was closed in 2008, and he's the one that bought it back the following year. And it's amazing, like, when it sat closed in 2008, how quick nature takes over a facility. Because I remember going there when Jim Morton took it over to help clean up. Remember, everybody, like a whole group of people went over there to help Jim get it cleaned up. Because Jim admitted right from the beginning, I don't have much money to do this, but I'll put everything I got into it. But we got to make money right away. It's going to be a tough go. I'm starting with very low funds, but if everybody chips in and helps and gets the place cleaned up, let's go for it. And, he put his ass on the line to do that. And everybody did chip in. Everybody wanted to help cleaned up. And I went over to Kevin Ayers. Kevin Ayers bought so much equipment. I thought the guy owned the landscape business, And it was amazing, Josh, in one summer, how grown up that track was. It looked like it was closed for 20 years, how grown up it got. And Jim put a valiant effort in. I know it ended bad. I know the last race he ran, he didn't pay the purse. But, he tried. He tried his hardest. Unfortunately, Jim just passed away. And Jim wasn't that old either, Jim sold boats. That was his real job. He was a boat salesman. And I did some towing for Jim, even after the fact of him running the racetrack. He had a Jeep. I used to tow his Jeep for him. I always got along with Jim. He was pretty upfront, He was pretty... He told you how it was, and he said, I'm struggling. We got to make money. A rainout's going to kill me, Work with me. Let's keep doing it, But it was pretty much forgotten about until Jim stepped in. And then Jim at least got the place running enough to get the Krauses interested. You know what I'm saying? He built it back up to where the Krauses are like, all right, well, if Jim doesn't want to do this anymore, we'll take it over. We love this place. So that's how it happened. So we really got Jim Morton to thank for the track still being open as much as we do the Krauses,
and if nothing else, because I was going to say, because they have that variable lease agreement where if the track actually sat without running a race for a full year.
Well, that's why Grandpa blew at the Turkey Derby.
Yeah, so that was one thing. But then Jim Morton stepping in to run that season, even if he only ran a handful of races, that was still a huge step to saving that the track. So I just think that should not go unnoticed as well.
So, unfortunately, we lost Jim this week.
The only thing that pissed me off about Jim Morton is he accused me of putting that 3 on the back straightaway.
Yeah.
Screw that. I wouldn't have done that if he paid me. That's too much
he
work.
came out. I mean, your brother painted the back straightaway. And I'm like, what are you talking about? My brother wouldn't paint the back straightaway if you paid him $3,000. He's not that.
Hey,
He's
he ain't
not
going.
that active, Jim. He doesn't have that type of energy. Trust me, he's not carrying a paint bucket for the back straightaway, painting a 3 on the back straightaway. But the reason why he thought you did it, Tim, is because that's one of your daughters was just born then. That's how long ago.
Kizzy. It was
And
Kizzy.
my brother gave out like 500, It's a Girl cigars, And
Yeah.
there was a bunch of them on the back straightaway.
Yeah.
Back there smoking the cigars while they were painting it,
He came over to the campground and started yelling. I told him, "Get the F out of here. You think I went out there and did that? You're an effing idiot. Get away from me."
And then Jim's like, "Tim, but we found your cigars all over the place. You were smoking a cigar, painting things." Like, I gave out like 500 of them yesterday at the racetrack,
I go, if I was smoking them, they wouldn't be there.
So yeah, that was a quick Jim Martin story. I got along with Jim fine. Like I said, I did some towing for him. He always treated me with respect, and he treated me very well. So unfortunately, we lost him. Another guy we lost, me and my brother kind of known too, because he lived right in Farmingdale, literally the next street over from us, was Bob Emmons. Bob Emmons owned a little speed shop. Yeah, MNO. He owned a speed shop, Josh, kind of like what Mike's Performance was. But
Right.
he had a garage, and he also built roll cages. He was the first one to get the Canadian stock car kit cages here from Canada, and he would weld them up for you. He would put them in cars for you and weld them up.
Oh,
He'd
cool.
get the car started for you, He sold shocks and springs. Matter of fact, the guy that ended up buying it was George Reynolds, the guy that's my crew chief. He turned it to CES. M&O, Tim, what did M&O stand for?
Money, no objects.
Money, no object. He was very popular with his stickers, Josh, kind of like Surf Taco. You know how they give all the stickers out and you see them everywhere? He gave out the M&O stickers, Tim, and I saw every TQ midget this week at Wall Stadium had M&O stickers on their car. It was just nice, simple. It was a simple sticker, Josh. It was just a white sticker with a black M&O on it, with little dots in between the M and the O, and it was a guessing game. Nobody ever knew what it meant. He would actually have a guessing game every year, and if someone won it, they got like $100 gift certificate, and then it finally came out that it stood for money, no object.
Josh,
that's a big saying in racing when some rich guy comes in and wants to go drag racing out, money, no option.
If you took Belmore Boulevard from Route 34 into Farmingdale, when you got to the stop sign at the end of the road, if you drove right into the house, right across the street, that was the house.
And that house is still there, and you'll see the little garage. It was no bigger than a shed, really. It was a single car garage, and that's what he worked at. And a lot of times when he welded the cages up, there was no room in the shop. He had the welder and all the stuff and all his grinders and stuff in the garage, and he would weld on outside. So it was cool for me and Tim. And he was literally right on the corner from us. I'd ride my bike over there and watch him weld roll cages up and rate springs in the shop and stuff, And I think by trade, Tim, if you remember correctly, I think he was a school teacher, right?
That I don't know. Yeah, he was a shop teacher.
Yeah, he was a shop teacher.
Yeah.
So he didn't care that there was a 7, 8-year-old kid hanging out on his bicycle watching him work on race cars. He actually showed me, if you think, believe it or not, he's the one that actually told me how to notch tubing, Okay. So,
and he wrote those books too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he wrote like how to build street stock books and stuff like that. He was a very smart guy, And I tell you what, Tim, I don't know how old he was when he passed away, but I mean, when I was 7, 8 years old, he seemed old to me then. You know what I'm saying?
He was old. He was old when he was riding bikes over there.
Yeah. So I mean, he had a long life, and he raced right to the very end. He was
with Lenny Boyd.
Yeah, he was a crew member on Lenny Boyd's 3/4 midget. I mean, I remember seeing him at the track this year. So that was a sudden passing. So Bob Emmons is going to be missed around the racetrack, especially with the TQ midget race teams. He was a part of that whole series and division. Then another big shocker, and Josh, this goes for you might as well enjoy every minute of your life and just do what you want because you don't know when it's going to end.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody was watching the Richmond modified race on NBC Gold Track Pass. In 1 hour, Ryan Preece wins, and the next thing you see Eddie Partridge in Victory Lane celebrating a win with the modified team he owns. He was Ryan Preece's modified car owner. He's also the owner of Riverhead Raceway and TS Haulers, a big truck trailer company out of Long Island. He was in Victory Lane, and 3 hours later, he passed away. They said he had an apparent heart attack. I'm not sure where he was at. I don't think he was still at the racetrack. I don't know if he was driving home or at the hotel room or anything like that. But, 1 minute he's standing in victory lane with his race team, and a couple hours later he's passed away from a heart attack. So that was very sad news, and now it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Riverhead. They did race Saturday, and the wife is saying she's going to keep going with it, but we'll see how long that is, So that was very, very sad news. Like within 2 days, 3 people very known to race and local race and passed away, so it's very sad that we lost those 3 individuals. Tim, do you ever work with Eddie Partridge spotting?
I never did spot. When John drove for Eddie, it was like that was when they were going during the week, and Grandpa wouldn't let me leave the junkyard. I wasn't allowed to go to spot. I had to work.
You never spotted for any of those TS hauler cars after all these years? I think I even spotted for what I spotted for Jimmy.
It just never transpired.
I actually spotted for TS haulers cars down at the North-South shootout when Jimmy drove for him.
And Freddie did most of it for John and Jimmy. Believe it or not, Crystal spotted for John when I wasn't allowed to go.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So that was, and I just, the one day we did rain out early at Wall Stadium, me, Nancy, Bron Becker, and his wife Amanda, we loaded up in my dolly and we drove out to Riverhead because I've never, surprisingly, I'd never been to a race at Riverhead. I've been to the track. I've drove by, pulled in, looked at it, but I've never physically saw a race there. So when Wall canceled real early, they canceled like 10:30. Nancy got looking on the computer. She's like, "Let's go to Riverhead." I'm like, "All right, let's go." They had a 100-lap modified race, and I was only a couple of weeks ago, and Eddie Partridge owns Riverhead, and he was there. I saw him right in the pits, and everything was good, and it's just a crazy, crazy thing, Josh.
Yeah, well, actually, since we're going to move into the TQs, Buddy Slode, his father had very recently passed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I know it was an emotional victory for him coming back to Wall. So.
Where I park in the pits at Wall Stadium, the TQ midgets are basically in front of my truck lined up on the back there. And there was a lot of emotional race teams after that race, like hugging and crying, for Bob Emmons passing away, and I guess for Buddy Slode's father passing away. I think that they're pretty much like a club, they're a tight group, and there was a lot of emotion back there from these people passing away, and it was pretty emotional seeing them after the races.
I think the whole night was,
I know. With 9/11 right there, everybody's affected by that. Everybody knew somebody that, got lost in that mess. And then you got the midgets who just lost Bob Emmons literally like that day. And then we had our John Gasko race, and he meant so much to everybody at that racetrack as well. You are right, Josh. It was an emotional day over there.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it felt really good to be at the track. I had a really awesome night overall. I think even if the race wasn't the most exciting for any division or something like that, I still had a really good time just watching it and being there and being part of it.
Just being there. Yep. No, you're right.
Anyway,
I also want to mention that this was a couple of weeks ago, but we haven't had a show since. I also want to mention that Chris Kilbride passed away. That's Neil Watt's car owner in that 66 Sportsman. And I know they're racing with a very heavy heart because he was the owner, not only the owner of the car, but the truck, the trailer, the garage, the car's housed in. And he was a big, big supporter of Neil, and he was really putting a push to get Neil to the next level. So I know that team, there's the Kilbride family is still letting Neil use the equipment and go racing. So I know they're also racing with a heavy heart. And I think Neil won his heat race too.
Yeah.
So that was good to see.
So no, it's been a rough. We'll just call it a rough month. Anyway, so we kind of gave it away with the TQs with Buddy Slode getting the win. They had a pretty neat race. They had a little trouble getting lined up after.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, they started the race, then somebody spun, then they did a complete restart, but then that took a little while to get everybody lined up again. They had just a couple little spins or whatever. Overall, it was a pretty good race, but it was the only drawback was them getting lined up.
They were the first feature down the hill, the ATQ MRA TQ midgets. They ran a 25-lap race. Josh, what do you think about the distance of that race? You think 25 laps is good for them, or would you like to see more?
I think they could do a few more, but
because it's a small track and they whip around that thing pretty quick. The race goes by pretty quick.
Yeah,
I think they should. I think they should race those guys during intermission.
Yeah, you know what, Tim? You're right. I mean, me and Nancy even mentioned that Dave Michaels, our race director. We want, since Wall Stadium raced, we've been to Hudson Speedway and Riverhead, and they advertise when qualifying starts. Like they'll say heat races start at 5:30, qualifying starts at 5:30, features to follow. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's no set time of 7 o'clock. So if their heat races get done quick, then they can just start the features, you know, because it was advertised as a 5 o'clock start time, you know, where Wall Stadium, we sit around an hour and a half in between qualifying and the features waiting for 7 o'clock, you know.
I see where you're going with it, I think, but at the same
But you're saying people were showing up at 7:30 anyway, so it might be a good start time.
Well, see, the whole thing, too, is when we were kids, Wall Stadium started everything at 7 o'clock, you know?
Uh-huh.
So there's people still that's what time they think Wall Stadium starts at 7 o'clock.
And you know what, Tim? As a competitor, if I was in the ATQ midgets, I'd be fine with that. Run us at 6:30. You know what I'm saying?
Get out of there,
You get out of there. Because that happened to us when I took Nancy up to Hudson for her Spitfire race, and my Pro V8 Enduro wasn't racing, so we were just there for her race, and they actually ran her race after the heat races before intermission. It was great. We were out of there at 7 o'clock and heading back home to Jersey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of those TQ guys do travel, so it would be good for them.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, Tim.
I just remember when I would hang out with Eric Graham and Mike Tash after a night of racing, but they were still in Legends, and I was doing the factory stocks. And
so they were first and you were last.
Yeah, and they'd be like, "Where are you? Are you coming? Like, what's going on?" Like, they're all impatient, pissed off, waiting. I'm like, I can't help it. We're the last race.
I tell you what, Josh, I didn't want to be too tired for that 94 lapper, so I told Nancy I'm going to stay home Friday. We usually go out to dinner or something Friday night, and then I load up Saturday morning. I didn't want to do all that and race, so I said, you know what, I'm going to stay home Friday night. I'm going to get everything loaded up Friday night. I want to be at the track at 1 o'clock. I don't want to feel rushed. I want to feel relaxed. We were basically the first one to the racetrack, and we were like the last ones to leave. It made for a long day being the first ones there at 1 o'clock. Now I remember why I get there at 2:30 and don't care if I miss the first practice, you know?
Yeah.
All right. So the TQ Midgets had their race there. I know they have a tight points battle going on. They are a traveling series, but most of their races are at Wall. I know they go to Bethel too. I don't know if I think they still go to Mahoney Valley. Josh, you want to hit us with the top 10 and give us the car count?
Those two that battled for the lead. That was a great race.
And Joey Payne was there too. He ran good too.
Yeah.
The kid that won it was really driving it hard.
Do you remember seeing those those front brakes?
Yeah.
Yeah, were they glowing?
Oh, they were going down the whole front stretch, back stretch. I mean, they didn't get a chance to cool off unless there was a caution.
Yeah, he was driving hard.
Yeah.
He was focused to win that race, and he did.
But yeah, overall, I think they had a pretty good show. Jeff Gravatt didn't give us a top 10 here. I'd have to go back to the. I'd have to see if I can find it on the app. But we'll see if we can post the results on our Facebook page and link it with their page or whatever.
Oh, the kid that won obviously, and Lenny Boyd's car was second. I know that.
Okay.
So.
With Joey Bailey, right?
Whatever the 1AB or whatever it's
the
called.
The 1B, yeah. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Joey Bailey's driving that now. Used to be Ryan Tidman a couple years ago. So, they had a pretty good competitive race. It's always you don't know what's going to happen when I know any race going into turn one is exciting, but with the TQs on that flat track, you don't know who's going to lift, who's not going to lift, and what's going to happen. So
and they do topple over real easy, so they got to be careful.
If they hop a wheel, I mean, yeah, you're probably going over. I mean, a few times somebody got up on a Nerf bar and kind of drug through a turn, kind of a thing. But no major incidents, just a few spin outs and.
All right, since our producer is too lazy to look, I looked up the results real quick. First place was number 36, Buddy Slode. Second place was the 1B of Joey Bailey. Third spot, the number 95 of Jeff Cott. Fourth spot was the 51 of Joey Payne. Fifth spot was the number 33 of Tyler Ferris. Sixth spot was the number 22 of Kyle Taraska. Seventh spot was the number 2 of Mike Glazer. The eighth spot was number 27 Robert Willis. Ninth finishing position was the number 76 of Brianna Page. I love this car. The 10th finisher was number 55 of Steve Craig. He's been racing forever in that yellow 55. There was 15 cars, so I'm going to go ahead and just finish in order. 11th place was 26 Bill Force. 12th was the number 01 of Ken Moody. 14th place was number 75 Mark Yoder. And the 15th was the blue number 09. Did you see that car? It looked just like my factory stock.
No, I noticed.
Yeah, there was a blue 09 TQ midget out there. It was the same exact color as my factory stock with a white 09 on it. I thought it was really cool. His name is Rich Barlow. He finished 15th. So they had 15 cars. That's pretty good for that group.
Real quick, I'm going to go over. I think 15 for them. I'd have to count Legends.
We had 18 in the factory stocks, which I was a little.
I thought there'd be more.
A little game on the way to track. We try to guess how many cars are going to be there, and you got to, the closest one without going over wins. She guessed 22. I guess we were going to have 23. We only had 18.
Yeah. Legends had 11. Sportsman and Modifieds both had 18. No, I'm sorry. Sportsman had 14. Modifieds had 18. Factories had 18. And there were 14 four-cylinders.
So not bad. I mean, it's a little low. Of course, we like to see over 20 cars in each division. But for this time of the year, that's not a bad car count, Josh.
Yeah, no, I was fine with the Modifieds. I thought there would be a few more sportsmen. And I definitely thought for that race there would be more factory stocks. Although, Scott, can I ask you real quick? I know we're jumping ahead here. When did you find out that that this past Saturday was the date for the...
Emily actually texted all the competitors on like Monday that the tires were in. She was going to go forward with the John Gasko race because she had enough tires to sell each racer 4 tires for that race. So she had enough tires for that race. But Josh, I did see that you were saying, I just realized it's John. You really got to pay. Wall Stadium this year, I've been noticing they don't make a lot of announcements, but they do update their website really, really quick. So you got to keep checking the website with that.
Okay, I was looking for, it wasn't until you sent the message and I was like, oh my God, that's already.
But us as competitors, we knew. I think it was Monday. Emily sent us all a text saying that the tires were in, and we were going to be able to come out from 4 to 6 on Friday night to pick them up, so we had time to mount them and everything like that, which was really helpful.
I just checked James Gerhold's page. He knows all about what's going on over there.
I tell you what, we'll get to that.
While we're on the TQs, though, I believe our buddy James, Scott's new best friend, had a camera or two on Brianna Page's TQ.
Yeah. James does a great job with that. It was cool watching Brianna's little video of her out there.
Speaking about car counts, there's quite a few sportsman guys moving up to the modified next year. I hope.
Tim, do you think they're really moving up, or do you think they're going to try to do both? Because
I thought you weren't allowed to do both every week.
Yeah, with the car counts the way they are now, they better let them do whatever they want.
Yeah, but unless Jimmy Blewett decides to go sportsman racing, they might let him do it. But
I think you should be able to bump up from sportsman to modified, but maybe not from modified down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that your phone, Tim?
House phone.
Okay.
Somebody wants to know if my insurance or my Suburban's good or whatever that is, the warranty.
All right, next down the hill was the exciting INEX Legend cars. They had 11 cars, you said, Josh?
Yeah.
That race got real interesting at the end.
That's one way to put it. You're being polite.
Yeah, and it also got a little scary there at the end. There was a few spins at the end, and there was a few people getting sent to the back. And unfortunately, it was Mason McGee, right, Tim, with 2 laps to go.
Yeah.
I think he got tangled up with Quinn Trimmer, the 77 car.
I believe that's right.
Yeah, and they were both sent to the rear. Quinn was a little more patient about it, but I was watching that, and that Mason McGee, he was a little fired up for getting sent in the back. He even ran in the back of Quinn Trimmer a couple of times before the green flag came out. I said, this guy's a little pumped up. And it seems like he was trying to make up a lot of time within 2 laps to kind of make up what he got penalized for. and it looked like he made a bold 3-wide move going into turn 1 and hopped the wheel, and he went into the wall, left side of the car first, driver's side of the car first, really hard.
And
it was
like
a scary
smacked
moment.
it, like kind of like a spin sideways, smack it, and continued spinning through, tearing the front and rear apart.
And Josh, when he hit, the impact was so fierce, it tipped the car to the left side too, where the right side tires came up.
Another thing that was scary about that is where he hit. Normally, car like if the fence is solid anywhere around the racetrack,
it's there.
There's no give there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like they double up the wall there because that's where it gets hit the most.
Yeah, it's like it's like brand new there.
Yeah.
So it was scary.
Hard hit, and it was scary. It was one of those wrecks where a lot of people in the grandstands got quiet to wait to see what happened, you know. And when he was able to get out, thankfully, but there was a red flag, and then but that car looked pretty much destroyed. What do you think, Tim? You think it's pretty bent?
Yeah. There's not much to those to begin with, so just glad he didn't get hurt. Anything after that, the car can be fixed or replaced. I think it needs to be replaced, probably.
I mean, we talked to him about him in the beginning of the year. He does bring a lot of excitement. He does come up from Maryland. He does bring his family and friends and fans with him. So he has brought some excitement to that division. And I'm hoping he can make repairs and get that car back.
Yeah.
I remember they were initially calling for the flatbed, and I think they ended up getting it out with they were going to try again with a different wrecker, and I don't. But I mean, once they're like, "Yeah, we're going to need the flatbed," you know, it's.
Josh, you were sitting down in the first turn. That's where the accident happened.
No, I was actually just no, I was just out of turn 4 when that happened. I went down to turn 1 a little bit later. I did get food between the TQs and the Legends, so yeah, that's why I was over there. Yeah, the Legends had a little bit of a rough night. I think we can say.
Well, they ended up stopping them short.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, at first they made him start single file, right, Tim? Wasn't it?
Yeah. Then it went right to yellow, and they threw the checkered after that.
The officials were done.
They actually ended up shortening their race up and calling the race complete with still 2 laps to go.
Yeah, I think the officials were just done with that.
I haven't seen that in a while, them do that, but they did it. I mean, we had a lot of racing going on that night.
They knew the sportsmen were up next, and you know what that can.
You can never. That's a wild card. You never know.
Yeah.
The sportsmen are weird. They can either go green the checker or wreck every lap. You know.
Yeah. So they were like, all right, well, this is how the night's starting. You know, let's keep moving along. Actually, my biggest complaint is Kevin Nowak, the winner's accent.
You know what? He was in a different car too. You know, he wasn't.
Yeah, he explained that.
I did hear him explain that.
Yeah, well, these guys, we're from New York.
He's one of the better legend car racers, not only in Long Island and New Jersey, basically the country. He's a well-known name in the legend cars. He's been racing them a long time. He wins everywhere he goes. And he was in a yellow 64 car, and that is familiar 53 car that looks like Herbie the Love Bug.
Yeah.
And he, like Tim said, he explained it. He said that during the summer, he rents that car to a 14-year-old kid. I think he said he was out of Rhode Island, and it's a rental program that, you know, it's like a, what do you call it? Like a arrive and drive type thing, you know?
Yeah.
Pay to play or whatever. And I guess to a 14-year-old kid, and the kid raced it all year and had a great year with it. And the kid went back to school now, so now he can't race now because he's back at school. So I guess Kevin Novak wanted to race it, make sure the car's fast and it's handling well, you know. And he went out and won with it. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I think it's him and Mike Alcaro are the 2 guys that kind of come in and invade, and just like they show up and win. And and then
I tell you what, we went out to Riverhead, and they were the fast guys out there too, you know.
Yeah.
But they've been doing it a long time, man. Those 2 names you just mentioned, Josh, I've been hearing them in the legend cars for a very long time.
Yeah. Actually, I remember the 2 top ones were Trevor and Zach, the Allspac
and then they
brothers.
moved up to the modifieds. Yeah.
Yeah. They were top dogs with the Legends for quite a while too.
Yeah.
But all right, so
hey, Josh, hit us with the top 10, or if you want to do the top 11, might as well go for that too.
Yeah, we can do that. Kevin Nowak, Eugene Drew, Brian Gardella, Peter Bruno, Tanner Jones, Leanne Cherry, Quinn Trimmer, Phil Bogdan, Matt Verlangeri, Mason McGee, and Jeff Stevens.
That's a good run for Leanne Cherry. Where did she end up, Josh?
6th.
Oh, that's great. That's a great run for her. And that, with a lot of wrecks and stuff like that, she was able to avoid all that and get a solid finish.
Surviving
that's a good
is
run for her.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd almost give her more credit for surviving all that than the position itself.
Yeah, right. That was a good run for her. I'm glad to see that. They live here right in Manchester, Josh, not far from me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right, so that's the INX Legend cars. They did a 25-lap feature. Next down the hill was the Sportsman Division. They came down for a 25-lap feature. I also want to mention that every race that night was a cone race.
Yes.
The only race that wasn't a cone race was the factory stock race.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you.
Which
it could have been. It wouldn't have
mattered. I don't know why they didn't do a cone race. Maybe because of the 94 laps. But what's the difference? They should have. It really didn't matter in the end because we only had one restart anyway, so we would only cone.
You're giving it away, Scott.
It's jumping ahead. All right. So the Sportsmen were down the hill next with a 25-lapper. Josh, how many cars?
14.
14 cars. It was actually a good race.
It was a really good race, and you don't hear me say that often.
Yeah, Josh is a big Sportsman fan. He's going to start wearing a shirt. I'm just here for the Sportsmen. My brother was spotting in that race. He was spotting for Ryan Fisher, who did start on the pole and led a good portion of the race. Tim, how did the race go?
Until 7 to go.
Until 7 to go.
Yeah.
Tim, how was it working with Ryan? Ryan's a rookie. He's new to racing. He's new to the Sportsman Division. He's working very hard at it. He has Jimmy Blewett helping him. He's also teammates with Ricky Collins. He has my brother spotting for him to try to help coach him. Tim, when you do spot for a rookie driver like that in a new division and new to racing, do you spot differently for him? Do you turn into like a driver coach, or do you just spot like you normally would?
I always tell everybody flat out, he doesn't live here anymore, but if someone ever came up to me and said, my kid's just starting, I want you to spot for him, I would say, no, you need to go talk to Hot Pockets, because Hot Pockets drove a race car.
Right,
you know, where I never drove a race car once, but no, I'm not that kind of spotter, but I told Jimmy wanted me to do it, and Jimmy's like, just do it like you do for me. He's good enough where he feels that this guy's capable enough to spot like that. Jimmy was on the radio with him the first couple nights and got him through where to lift and where to get in the gas and all that stuff. I can do it, but I don't choose to do that because if I do it and the guy wrecks, it's my fault.
Right.
Well, it's your fault anyway.
Well, that's true, but I just spot for him normally.
I was just wondering. I know when new racers get out front and they're leading, they get a bad habit of looking in the mirror too much.
Oh, that's what I told him. I tell him, you worry about what's in front of you. I'll worry about what's behind you. And he did really well. There was a couple times that Kevin probably could have dumped him earlier than he did dump him. And then when he did dump him, Ryan kind of went in a little too high, and Kevin was able to get the bumper to the Nerf bar, and then at that particular time, it was either let off again or keep on going, and he just chose to keep on going.
It looks like your driver kind of came in on
a weird angle.
Yeah, on a different arc into the corner. He went in real high, and he kept back down, and Kevin was already underneath him. And
I don't know why he was up that
Kevin.
high.
I mean, in the end, Kevin spun him, or you can say Ryan spun off at Kevin's right front tire. They just came together.
It was a little bit of lack of experience on Ryan's part, and they got together a little bit. No racing accident. No.
Yeah.
Nobody's
So just
fault.
curious, how did Ryan handle that on the radio?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's all for having all four tires on the car at the end of the week, and he's still learning. He knows he's still learning. He knows he's not one of those guys who thinks he's going to go out there and win first night. He's got. Put it this way, it's the best he's ever done. He's been starting on the pole every week, and he would get past. The first time I did it, he got past within 2 laps, and then the second time I did it, he got past in 6 laps, and then the third time I did it, he got past in 12 laps. Now he made it to 7 to go, so maybe next time he can make it to at least 2 to go.
He's making it further. You're exactly right, Tim. That's a great way of looking at it. He's making it further into the race.
So he's one of those guys. He's still having a good time at it. So until then, we'll see how it goes. You know how
Josh,
racing is.
anything else you want to talk about the Sportsman race, Josh? You were
I think it was just one caution for a spin. I mean, honestly, they didn't even really have to have. I mean, if that was a factory stock race, they wouldn't have thrown the caution right away. They would have said, nope, you start it up and you get going. Right. You know, you can move, and that's what my dad actually brought up a really neat idea. How about if you sit there waiting to bring out the yellow, you automatically go a lap down anyway.
Yeah, they got to do something like that. This way, you think twice about doing it. You know.
Yeah, because you're holding up everybody else's show, everybody else's race, right. And it just, as a fan, it pisses me off. As a past driver, it pisses me off because. Like, no, we didn't get, the luxury of all that. No, they told us to keep going. They pushed it. They'd hold off the throwing the yellow until they
I tell you what, that's what they do at Riverhead. You spin or get down and you feel you better get going because they're real lazy with the yellows there. They can throw them. They'll wait for you to go a lap down before they throw the yellow.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's fine. Like, all right, you're great. Now you're down a lap, so you're not going to be a factor anymore anyway. So it's up to you. I think that's what needs to be done. Other than that, no, the Sportsman race was pretty good. I mean, nothing individually that I need to speak of.
All right, Josh, here's with the results.
Yeah, sure. So Kevin Davison with the win. Larry Thompson, Karsten D.J. Tommaso, Jake Nelke, Jarrett D.J. Tommaso, Chris Silvestri, Neil Rutt III, Jimmy Wolcott, Jeffrey Loesch, and Ryan Fisher are your top 10.
What a turnaround for the 14 there.
Oh, Larry Thompson, he's really turned the corner in that division. He's one of the forces to beat every week there now. I mean, coming off that one, he's still finishing right up top. And Timmy, you're 100% right. I've been watching him closely lately. That car's like on rails. It's sticking like glue. He's making good moves. Larry's back to top form in that car again.
I agree.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Right. You did mention Jake Nelke. He was one of those guys there. Tim was talking about it earlier. He was there he has a regular Wall modified now too, as well as a Sportsman car. Charlie's kids, the 33 and the 38, they do have one Wall Stadium modified at the race. No, they did. They had two, Tim. They actually have two. They have the 41 car that they own, and they have been driving Skip Lukowitz's number 9 as well. So they've been bringing 4 race cars to the track, 2 Sportsmen, 2 modifieds. So that kind of makes me.
Was Skip's car there last night? I don't remember seeing it out there.
I don't know if he came out on the track, but it was in the pits. It was on a trailer next to all those guys there. I don't know if they had problems and didn't race, but he was there. So they've been bringing 4. Matter of fact, I know for a fact they were there because I borrowed 4 jack stands off them for Tech. So yeah,
they're giving it away again, Scott.
Yeah, they've been bringing 4 race cars to the racetrack, and that's a lot of work, man. I bring 2, and it's a lot of work. And I'm kind of interested to see what their plans are going to be next year because now they are dabbling with the modifieds. I don't know if they're going to fully leave the Sportsman division next year, or if they're going to, just maybe run the big races with the modified and still run the Sportsman race, the Sportsman cars weekly. Only time will tell. There always seems like there is a changing in the guard in that Sportsman division, and there should be. It's kind of what it's for. You get your feet wet, you learn how to set up the modifieds, you learn how to drive them, and then you just pull the crate motor out, put a modified motor in, and go modified racing. It's a stepping stone division for the modifieds. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like the Xfinity Series is for Cup or stuff like that. So yeah, I've been really paying attention to what some of these sporting guys may or may not do next year. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to that division next year.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe Josh will even be out there next year with a Sportsman car now that he loves the division so much.
I was just going to take the fenders off the factory stock and go out there, and then all I have to do is survive the carnage, and I got a top 10 every week. I might even get a trophy at the end of the year.
You might. All right, so next down the hill was the very exciting modified division, the fastest division at the racetrack. They came down for a 40-lap race, which was also a cone race. Josh, how many cars?
18.
Nice. That's a nice car count for them.
Yeah, it was a good. Yeah, there was a good bunch of them out there. I think it was that got people excited.
Josh, you got to the track a little late. My brother was there. There was a little modified controversy before the night started. This was a rain-out race. It was a make-up rain-out race.
Start them all.
But no, they did. They let people buy in, but the problem was the people already qualified on their tires. So they already had 8 lap tires.
That's why they did that thing with the time trials.
So they only had 8. This race went back like a month or so. So they've been sitting on these tires for this race. They ran heat races and then the feature got rained out. So they marked those tires that you qualified on, and they're the ones you had to run in the feature. So you had 8 laps on them in the heat race, right? So now these guys had to wrap them up and try to keep them fresh. But then they announced if someone shows up that wasn't in a race, they're allowed to buy 4 tires and buy into the race to start the race, right? But then the guys that already have 8 laps on their tires say, well, that's not fair. They say, all right, well, what we'll do is there was quite a few of them, too. There was quite a few cars that weren't there. They're like, all right, the guys that weren't here that are buying into the race, they got to go out in a group and run 8 hard, fast laps and to put 8 laps on their tires.
Scuff them in, yeah.
Yeah, which wasn't even quite even yet because
it's only one heat cycle.
Yeah, it's only one heat cycle. They should have made them run like 12 or 15 because the other guys are sitting on tires that have been sitting in their garage for a month, getting hard,
Mm-hmm. So turning blue.
yeah, right. So anyway, they send the group out, and I say there was probably close to 7 or 8 cars. And honestly, Josh, the only ones that went real hard and real fast were Anthony Cecily and Jason Treat. The other guys were running like 17-second laps.
They were taking it easy trying to nurse the tires.
Right.
Cecily had something to prove Saturday night. He was all about
it. He was on a mission, man. He was on a mission. But anyway, Anthony went out there, and he was honest. He gave it an honest 8-lap run. So Dave Michael, being the stern race director at the driver's meeting, he had a list. He said, Anthony Cecily, Jason Treat, you guys did what you were supposed to do. You did a great job. Other guys, Tyler, Truex, blah, 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 right down the line. You guys were doing 17-second laps. That's no good. You're only getting 1 lap time. Because they did time trials, you're only getting 1 lap. And in the modified, your first lap's usually the slowest. The second lap's usually fastest. So they time tried poorly. Another way to make it fair, the guys that bought in, they should have just started behind
in the back
cars.
You time trial them, and then you put them in that order behind everybody else. Right?
Yeah, or whatever. Use the lineup from the first week, from the rain out race, and then just add them to the back. Let them draw out of a hat for all care. If there's 8 of them, put 8 chips in the hat. Whatever.
Well, I was thinking if you made them heat cycle the tires again by putting them out there,
right,
and then still adding them to the rear. You see what I'm getting? Yeah.
I'm not putting Anthony down. He ran a great race, and he has been faster the last few weeks over at Wall Stadium. He is a great race car driver at Wall Stadium. He has a lot of wins there in championships.
Mm-hmm.
But he started, Tim, where did Anthony finish? He started like 3rd or 4th up there, right?
Yeah, he was like 4th, yeah.
On tires that had the same amount of laps as everybody else, but fresher,
Yeah.
They weren't sitting for a month. And Anthony really dominated that race. But to give him credit where credit's due, he was fast all week. Not all week, but all day he was fast. He was fast in practice. He's got that car hooked up again. He looks like the Anthony Cecily of old over there, and he's definitely one of the faster cars there now for sure.
Good.
And I heard he had a new spotter Saturday night too.
So he's still the same. Still the same. 8:45 on a Friday night. Can you spot for me tomorrow? He's like, no, I kind of already found somebody to do this weekend.
Did he say what the change of heart was? Why he decided to race? I know him and his family are really big into the quarter midgets. He's got nephews that race in the quarter midgets. Anthony's actually a quarter midget kid. That moved up through their divisions. He started out in quarter midget with his sister. I know that was a big weekend of racing for them. They had a memorial race going on too, Josh, just like we had a memorial race going on for the quarter midgets, and they were part of our intermission ceremonies and everything, the quarter midget kids. So I think maybe that's a reason Anthony really wanted to race that race. Maybe he changed his mind because I know he was over there with his nephew racing quarter midgets. So he had to be there anyway. He did bring the modified. He kind of had a. Did you see where he parked in the pit?
Yeah, in the corner there in the end.
Yeah, Josh, he kind of parked between the fuel truck and the gate because he was doing both. He was racing the modified and doing the quarter midgets with his family. Yeah. So I guess he decided later, well, if I'm going to be at the quarter midgets, maybe he looked at the schedules. I'll do both. And it was cool because he's such a supporter and a graduate of the quarter midget. When he won, he actually brought all the quarter midget kids in the victory lane with him. So that was pretty cool. So
that's awesome.
Those kids got a taste of that. And, they say, all right, if I keep racing like Anthony, I can be winning in Premier Division at the big track as well. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Salmon spotted for Anthony.
Oh, did he really? Oh,
Yeah.
That's cool. And Danny Salmon's another quarter midget kid. You know, so that's cool. I graduated from a former quarter midget kid, I should say. He's a grown adult now that races. You know.
Wait. There was an 8-year-old spotting for.
But no, it was a great race. Tim, do you have? I mean, you're pretty tight with Anthony Cecily. Do you have any idea what might have turned his racing around? New motor, new car, new crew chief?
They've been working on. No, he's been trying to reinvent the wheel with the front end.
Oh yeah.
He's been trying different things and everything.
Well, whatever he's trying is working. Always taking good notes because he's got to dial it back in. There was a time where Anthony kind of felt like a 5th place car there for a little while for dominating at Wall for a few years, and now he looks like he's right back to where he was.
Yeah,
I know he uses Rick Clues from upstate New York built spindles, and I know
that's what they've been playing with. Yeah,
Anthony's been running the Clues spindles, so that's good. They finally got them figured out.
Yeah.
All right, Josh. Anything exciting happened in the modified race? I didn't get to see it because we were up next, so I was getting my stuff ready.
40 laps, good show. I mean, it wasn't some wreck-filled, mess. I mean, they were solid. They put on a good show. I mean, again, maybe not the most exciting race I've ever seen, but it was a good, solid race. I mean, they were going hard at it for 40 laps. I got nothing to complain about. Honestly, I'm more annoyed with the there's a bulb out on the tower.
That drives me crazy too.
And it was like lap.
It's funny you were going to say that. I was going to say it at the end of the show. My one complaint about is I got to put light bulbs in the tower.
Well, it's more one. It's more, there's one bulb in particular because they were at lap like 65 and it looked like 55 or something.
Yeah.
There's one bulb.
I tell you what, Josh, I was having the same trouble in the car because we went green for a long time too, and a long distance race. I didn't know if it was 55 or 65 either. I didn't know if I should still be saving the car or start running harder.
Yeah.
So I did it the old fashioned way. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to cruise at this pace until I see the 10 to go sign. I'll start looking at the flagger because I couldn't tell the laps.
Well, I'm in the same boat because the guys in the car asked me, "Are we at lap 55 or are we at lap 60?" Or I'm like, I don't know. You can't.
I saw, and then I was like, wait, now they're on 70? Wait, is the tower screwing with us and trying to make this a shorter race?
Yeah, I went the old-fashioned way. I kind of saw halfway. I'm like, all right, I still got 10 or 15 laps before I really just put the whip to it, Yeah.
And
then I'm like, is that 55 or 65? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to cruise at this pace until I see the 10 to go sign. Then
I guess Bob Mensher must be scared of heights. He don't want to go up there and change that bulb.
I think that's more Brian Hammer. I think Brian Hammer takes care of that too.
So it's one bulb. Like I know there's more than one out, but it's one bulb in particular that's pissing me off.
That's very important. We need that one bulb.
Yeah. If he needs, I will buy him that bulb. I will take that.
I don't think that's a problem. It's getting up there to do it. Yeah. I guess he would have to pull the boom truck onto the banking, right, and then put the boom up to get to that.
Is there a ladder on the back of that we don't know about or something?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'll ask Brian Hammer when I see him next week over there.
That'll be our reviews and recommendations kind of thing. Like, how do you change the light bulb on the scoring tower?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it was driving me crazy too. At the scoreboard. Tim, you did spot for Ricky Collins. Was that your first time spotting for Ricky?
Yes.
How did you like spotting for Ricky?
He did good. He listened to me. He ended up third, which is good for him.
Yeah, I was glad to see that for Ricky.
I don't know
people passing away. His father passed away of COVID, and they raced together for years.
Yeah.
Him and Ricky, were pretty much a team together. And and Ricky's racing on his own now because his father passed away, and he's been struggling a little bit too. And for him to get a good run, it was really nice to see.
Yeah, he was happy with third. I don't know if that's the best he's ever finished or not.
He's got a modified win. He does have a modified. Yeah.
He was really happy. He listened and he finished a clean third. We didn't bother anybody,
Yeah, that's cool. All right, Josh, here's with the top 10, buddy.
That's actually really – it's one of those things, like, it may not have been the most exciting race for the driver at that point, but, hey, we didn't bother anybody. Nobody bothered us. We finished third.
I know.
I can't
Like,
complain.
For like the last 10 laps, I think it was the white 17 to 55 and the 27. They were really battling out for their position there at the end.
Yeah.
That was a good race right there.
All right.
Hi, Josh. Here's with the top 10.
So Anthony Sesley gets the W. Then Derek Hopkinson, Ricky Collins, Tommy Martino Jr., Stephen Reed, Andrew Krause, Kenny Van Wickle, Tyler Truex, Ron Freese, and Eddie McCarthy are your top 10.
And I just want to mention, too, that both Eddie McCarthy and Andrew Chris actually raced at Richmond Speedway in Richmond, Virginia on Friday night. So they raced Friday night and they made it all the way back to Wall Stadium to compete at Wall Stadium on Saturday. So they had a real busy weekend. So it was nice to see them come back.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Andrew was going to make it back in time.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was pretty cool to see Eddie McCarthy and Andrew Krause do a double duty like that. That was pretty neat.
To correct myself, it must have been the 9, not the white 17 that was battling there.
Yeah, that's a good run. That was a very good run for Tom Martino.
And we've been off a couple of weeks of talking about running good in the tour. Andrew ran really well at Oswego. He made it up to second and third. He was really running strong. I don't know what happened at the end, but he's definitely turned his program around on the tour too. So he's getting better.
That's cool. And it helps when he comes to the wall. He's running better on the wall. Too,
actually, I do have no, keep talking. I do have one thing I want to talk about for the modified race.
Good.
About Andrew. Hang on, I got it. Anyway, I love watching Andrew race because very few people will go to the outside like he does. And I know I've talked about it before, but there were a few times he went to the outside and he was battling there, and that part was actually a pretty good show. And he's always fun to watch.
This is for our audience to know this is not a repeat episode of the RPM podcast. It's just Josh talking once again about Andrew on the outside at Wall Stadium.
He's good at it, and it's fun to watch. I don't know what this. If people don't respect that, I don't know why that doesn't get more attention, because I think that's very impressive. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
All right, so that's the modified division. Next down the hill was the American Steel, the factory stock division. So we are going to talk about factory stocks and ketchup packs right now. That's what the show revolves around. It was a very important race. It was a 94-lapper. This was supposed to happen in August, and it kept getting postponed for a couple reasons. One was rain, then the tire shortage. She only wanted to have this 94-lapper race if every team could buy 4 tires for it to make it the 94 laps. And with the tire shortage from Hoosier, that was hard to do. So she finally got a full, complete tire order, and we were able to compete in this race this week, which was good.
So what did that entail as far as tires? Like, how many did everybody get? Or
each car was allowed to buy 4 tires.
4 tires, okay.
Which was good because we haven't bought tires the last few races, so we all needed tires. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like.
Were these new tires, or were they new old stock tires from somewhere else?
They look brand new to him, because even they were so new, I was worried if they were cured enough.
Cured enough.
Okay. Yeah, there's a curing process to come with these tires. They felt to the touch. They felt soft there, and the white paint was leaving a little sticky on it. So they were fresh. You know what I'm saying? But I had no problem. My tires were great. I put the new tires on, and they were fine.
Well, easy for you to say.
So no, I was very happy with the tires. I know it sounds weird. You got to buy 4 tires for a factory stock race. I'm going to run those tires again. They got 94 laps on them. I'm going to run them again. Our tires are pretty good up to about 150 to 200 laps. You can get out of them no problem if your car handles well and they don't get cut or anything like that. It sounded like it was a lot of money to run this race because you bought 4 tires, but not really, because we ran 4 races without being able to buy any tires, and we're usually allowed to buy 1 tire a week. So basically, the money we saved from not being able to buy tires, we just caught up and bought tires now. You know what I'm saying?
Right. All right, so now
it's kind of weird. I thought maybe for this race it would be a time trial race. They usually give us 1 time trial race a year, and they just went with the regular Wall Stadium handicap. There was one question of why I started 4th, because technically I shouldn't have started 4th. Technically, if you have a win which I did, I had 1 win going into this race. You're not allowed to start higher than 5th.
Right.
Well, when they put the lineup up, I was 4th, and there was 2 guys behind me without wins. So technically, I should be 5th and put one of those guys in front of me. I didn't say anything, but I seen a whole line of people going in the trailer to complain about it, and I even said, "Listen, put me 5th. I'd rather start 5th than 4th. I'd rather be on the inside."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I said I have no problem moving the 5th, but what happened was I was in 5th, but the guy who was starting 4th scratched, so
Ooh.
they just moved everybody up a spot. That's how I went from 5th to 4th. That's why.
It wasn't a scoring thing so much.
No,
it wasn't initially.
It's like one of those things. If you scratch down on the track, they just move the row up. If you scratch 2 hours before the race, they move everybody up and switch everybody around. Cross them over like you would on the track. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to explain. That's why I start 4th. It looked weird because I had a feature win. But I got moved up to 4th. And I'm like, start me 5th. I don't care. Start me 7th. I don't care. It's 94 laps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're going to be out there for a while.
Yeah. So I just wanted to explain that's what happened there. And I was fine either start 4th or 5th. I didn't care where they started me.
I didn't even think about that. Well,
yeah.
Damn. No. So Scott, real quick, back to the tires. What did you have for backups? For spares. If something went south.
I still have a decent set of tires left.
How many?
100-lap tires.
How many are you allowed in your bank outside of the 4 that are on the car?
Oh, whatever you bought all year. We were allowed to buy 6 tires at the beginning of the year, and then one tire per race. You never take tires out of your bank. They stay in there forever.
Oh, okay. Well, other divisions.
You just add to your bank.
Okay. All right. So you can use any old scuff from
any old bank tire for a spare. Yes.
Okay. All right. That's
before we get into the race, I have a factory stock tidbit I want to add to.
Okay.
With the tires?
Yeah. That's all I had. Go ahead.
You go with the tires, Scott?
Oh, one thing I want to compliment the racetrack on it, and as a car owner of 2 factory stocks, I really, really appreciate it. There was an email going around saying that Hoosier Tires is increasing the tires across the board, even like kind of like breaking contracts of like a 15% increase across the board on tires. We did not get an increase in our tires when we bought them. Our tires are $106 a piece, and they were still $106 a piece. Because I want to thank the track for not raising the price of our tires.
While we're on the subject of tires, thanks for buying Alexis new tires, because now she won. Now she demanded she had to have new tires again, and they actually went up since the last time I bought them. They went up $4 a piece also because of all this.
Which is probably 15%.
Yeah, so it's right along the lines of that. So with all that, you done tires?
Like twice since I bought her tires. She needs new tires again.
Now you spoiled her. Now I don't know what to do now.
Well, now you prove what they can do.
Yeah.
Now she's like Sam Russo. She's got to come down the hill on 4 tires every time we come down the hill.
Yeah, you don't want to use that as a crutch either. You still want your car handling well, and you still want to learn how to drive. You don't want to be one of the guys that set your race cars up by just putting new tires on it every week.
Now Scott's a coach.
Thanks to the Freeman Hotel and Tommy Farrell, she's got her tires. So, thank you for that. But anyway, you done with tires now?
Yeah, we can move on to the race.
One thing I wanted to I don't know. There's pros and cons. There seem to be people in front of me. I'm not saying a lot of people, but I just want to mention that Glenn Osborne's kid came down with the car. It looked like John's car.
Yeah.
It looked really nice. It was a beautiful car. It looks like John's number 5. A lot of people, not like I said, people in front of me were like, he shouldn't be able to do that. That's disrespectful.
The Osbornes and Bluets are so close.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say a lot of people don't even know where they keep the cars at Jimmy's shop was the Osborne shop. They built that. That was their junkyard.
The house that Jimmy Blewett lives in was the Osborne homestead.
Yeah, so we know what else said. I do agree. Like whenever I see a 61 and a modified, I don't agree that there should be a 61 on. But I just wanted to mention that the people that don't know that the Osborne family has every right to do that. That's just something I just wanted to mention.
To this day, Glenn Osborne's he's a truck driver at Blewett's.
He still works there.
He still works there.
And Timmy Steffens painted it. It's beautiful. It looks really nice.
Oh, is it? It's paint. It's not a wrap.
And Timmy said they painted it according to Facebook.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. So, another Surfside collision car out there.
Yeah,
impressive. Really impressive.
Cool.
I just wanted to mention
so we came down the hill for a 94 lap race, which was a little bit of the unknown. I mean, it's got to be. We ran enduros over there, 100 lappers, 150 lappers, Josh. But technically, that wasn't a factory style race. It was an enduro race under the NEATS, enduro series banner.
Oh yeah, that was back. That was still DOT tires. That was and I would barely make it with an 8-gallon fuel cell.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of the unknown rolling down the hill for a 94-lap factory stock race. I knew I was good. I had a 16-gallon fuel cell. I got a 16-gallon fuel cell in Nancy's car. I knew the tires would last no problem. Now, my concern was brakes. We run stock brakes. We do run a better brake pad, like a Hawk brake pad.
Mm-hmm.
In Nancy's car, I don't have Hawk brake pads. I run Duralast Golds on her car from AutoZone. No, they're good. They're good brake pads, too.
They are good, but...
she doesn't like the Hawks. They're a little too touchy.
Okay, I got you.
Them up, so I went to a little softer pad. It just fits her driving style a little bit better. So there were some unknowns. Who was going to last, who wasn't going to last. I tell you what, I didn't see any cars breaking down. I know Nick Kilmer had a motor problem.
Who's in the 5?
Brian DeSarno.
He had like a bulge under something, right?
Either the right front hub or something.
Okay.
The right front went, yeah. And the wheel collapsed back up into, so that's why I was thinking it was either a hub or control arm failure.
So that was 2 cars you seen with some type of mechanical failure.
Yes. Kudos for you, Josh. You were saying before, people stopping and causing the yellow. Everybody could make sure they got out of the way.
Yeah. No, he had that collapse coming off of turn 4. He brought it down to the flat, went all the way around 1 and 2 on the flat.
He used a lot of power to get that car to keep rolling because, like you said, the right front was dragging on the ground. It looks like he was smoking the rear tires to get the car to put enough power.
But he got down and inside that box for the infield and got out of the way from everybody.
I also thought maybe out of the corner of my eye, late in the race, I thought maybe the 21 of Tom Rajowski pulled off too. Did you see that, Josh?
I didn't notice that. I did notice that the 23 had a good spin and actually gave you a little pucker factor when he was getting back on the track.
I'm good friends with Scott. I've known Scott a long time, but I had to wave my fist out the window the one time I was laughing. I'm like, dude, you're killing me, man. And
then the one time off the corner, you caught him in the bumper. And
I gave him a little shot to let him know that it's time for you to.
He was like the TCM jam car and slot cars.
You know what? In the end, though, he was probably one of the most exciting parts of the night was getting around.
He was sideways every damn turn. He was fun to watch. That's for sure. Fun to watch, but it wasn't pretty.
I was watching Mike Tal's live video on Facebook, when I got home, and the last time Scott spun out, he got going though, man. He did a burnout down the.
Somebody yelled "Black Flag!" That guy.
Dude, there was smoke rolling out of like the cab of his car. I'm like, oh my god, it looked like it was on fire going out the front.
I thought something blew up. It was definitely fun to watch. Over the factory stocks, they did put on a good show. There was a point that they got strung out, but then you get some of the slower cars, and they'd bunch up some of the mid-pack cars, and
right.
Yeah, and honestly, one caution. And that somebody got turned around between 1 and 2. And honestly,
that would happen right in front of me. That was actually a pack of lap cars.
Yeah.
And they went 3 wide and it spun out. That happened right in front of me. I was able to get around.
It was exciting, and it was in front of you, and you got around it. And honestly, if they just held off a little bit longer, he probably would have pulled down and got going anyway. You could have gone.
Because I made it through. I went around the top and I floored on the back straight. I'm like, keep it green. And then the yellow came out.
Yeah. One thing I want to ask you, I don't know how long it's been there, but I didn't notice 2 or 3 weeks ago, there's like a big neon move over sign on the front.
Oh, that's been there for years.
It's been there for years, but honestly, Josh, I think lately they've only been using it in long distance races. They don't use it in normal 25 lappers.
I saw it. Well, I did see it in the modified race for what that's worth. I don't know if you can.
Or maybe it wasn't working for a while. But Tim, you are right. I haven't seen that working in a while. Now it is working again.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they just used it because it was a 94 lapper for us. So I thought maybe they just used it in big races, No,
it was definitely getting used for the 94 lapper. That's for damn sure. It was a
Josh,
good show.
Josh, you're used to seeing that sign, so
You know, I got good at staying on the lead lap.
Arrow. I'm not sure though.
But man, I have to say it was so. I mean, it was fun to watch. I really had a good time. But man, I got the itch again. I wanted to be out there. I'm pissed that I couldn't be out there because I know that.
You know what? That's your type of race, Josh. You're like me. You like the long distance races.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I was thinking in my head mentally about treating that like an enduro and just trying to roll.
Doing,
but Scott,
I definitely used my enduro knowledge in that race. And it worked
as much as I'm sure you had to save the car and keep it keep it together and make it last. You ran your best damn lap at lap 93, Scott.
Well, but that shows you I saved the car for the end.
Yeah.
I learned this from Spot with the Bloats. Whenever they ran a big distance race, they would pace themselves.
Yeah.
They always told me, lap with 10 to go, let me know. Say 10 to go. And then they're wide open. There's no sense of saving the car anymore.
But I had the race monitor app up, and you were.
So there was a few little birds chirping after the race saying they thought I was going to burn my stuff up, that I was out front showboating and like wide open from the first lap, and I wasn't. I was honestly saving the car and improved by showing when my laps came up, my fastest lap time was lap 93.
Now, I would not say that you were showboating.
I had the fastest lap time out of everybody on lap 93. So it showed that I still had plenty.
Where's that bragging camp thing, Josh?
Yeah,
there it is.
How's bragging camp going?
There we go. No, in all seriousness, when I was watching that, and I keep looking, and I know that you had to take it a bit easy at some points, but there were times you were side by side with Elliott, and you had to you were pushing because whoever got in the lead was gonna have it a lot easier.
That was probably the most exciting part of the race, other than battling with lap traffic, was that restart. Me and Elliott went side by side for a good 4 laps.
It felt like 10 laps.
No, you should have felt like in the car. It felt like 25 laps.
Well, I bet me and Neil Rutt have that kind of a battle. Whenever we get side by side, and it's fun. It's stressful.
But then I'm in the car laughing the whole time. Sorry, I interrupted your Neil Rutt story.
Neil Rutt.
Whenever I run side by side with Ellie, he'll find the first video, my in-car camera, or somebody else's in-car camera from behind. You're coming up above the zipper and running me into the wall, blah, blah, blah. So the whole time I'm racing, I'm like, you know what? I got a great car tonight. I am not going above that zipper line. When I mean above the zipper line, I mean my whole car above the zipper line.
Yeah.
I think when the zipper line's like directly down the middle of my car, there's plenty of room for the guy outside. You know what I'm saying? You can almost fit 2 cars above the zipper line, but then you're squeezing the guy, So the whole time we're running side by side, the only thing I'm thinking in my head, don't hit him in the door in the center of the corner because it cries about that. And don't run up above the zipper line, because when I win this race and we watch the video, I want to show him that I passed you, I beat you clean on the restart. But here's another funny story about that when me and him were running side by side. There was bonuses in this race too, Tim. And one of the bonuses was halfway, but we didn't know. They really didn't announce some bonuses to us.
I didn't hear anything of this.
Yeah, we didn't really know what the bonuses were. So anyway, after tech, Nancy goes up and gets paid, and I see her and Elliot like yelling at each other and laughing. And I'm like, what the hell are those two talking about? Well, I actually got a $75 bonus for being second at the halfway mark.
Oh, geez.
Scott led the whole race. He took like the lead on like lap 15. He led the whole race. I'm sick, and I get the $75. That's crazy. So they looked at my laps or whatever, and Ellie was a bumper ahead of me at the halfway. So Ellie was all mad over the bonus. But anyway, he didn't go get paid yet. When he finally went and got paid, they paid $125 to be the leader at halfway, and second played $75. So he actually got more money than me. So then I was mad I didn't lead on lap. Another bonus, Tim, I want to mention that was pretty special to me. I got $25 for leading lap 76, and that was in memory of Joe Kafka from the.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that was special. Joe Kafka was a racer at Wall Stadium in New Egypt. He raced with my father. He always had beautiful red, white, and blue number 76s, very similar to what the Blewett family ran. he was a very early champion at Wall Stadium. He might even.
I think he was the original.
Yeah, I think he might have been the very first street stock champion, and his family does still come to the racetrack. I know they are. Brian Doyle is actually rebuilding one of his cars and restoring it. So it was good to see the Kafka family there, and they actually came in the pits and shook my hand and talked to me for a little while, saying they were happy that I led lap 76 in memory of Joe Kafka. So I thought that was pretty cool. That was the K Company. He had a bunch of friends. They all painted their cars the same. They were called the K Company race team. They were a pretty solid race team. They were out of East Brunswick area, New Brunswick, up that way. They ran a New Egypt wall, and they would even venture up to Evergreen and Pocono as well.
Wow.
Speaking about people there getting itchy, and Paul Jason Bird was in the grandstands.
Yeah, that's the second time I seen him at the racetrack. I said, Paul, you keep coming around here, you're gonna want a car again.
It's fun.
So it was a good race. A lot of fun. My car ran great. It was just one of those weird things. A lot of people came up to me during the day, say, "Man, this is like right in your wheelhouse. You're good at these long distance races. You got a good shot at winning this thing." But there's so many fast cars in our division, Josh. I mean, you look at our lap times; we're all right there.
Oh, no, I think what was it Brian O'Shea? And I'm going to cheat a little bit here.
They were doing nines.
He turned a 15.9. He finished fourth, so he had the fastest lap time. But I mean, and I think he was saving it to the end as well. But he never got that end of the race caution that
he might have been saved. Yeah, exactly. But I still had plenty of car left at the end too. So I think there was a late caution. It may have made the racing a little exciting. But
also just being out front gave you a little bit of the advantage, and just for any restart or anything coming up there. But yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a ton of fast cars, but. Yeah, I do think that long distance experience does play into your hand.
But Josh, I know you're not a religious guy, but I think there's a little bit of weirdness. I felt a little weird about it too. Like Andrew wins his dad's memorial race. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then here I am. I win the John Gasko race in pretty much dominant fashion in a car that John Gasko owns. Isn't that crazy?
I think it's very poignant. I think it's a good sign, if anything. I mean, no, I'm not religious. You're 100% right there, but yeah, that doesn't mean there's no.
I went to this race super prepared, and I'm sure Andrew does too for his father's memorial race, because you do want to win. You want to give your best effort. And I'll be honest, I was focused. I was up on the wheel more than I have been. Like, I wanted to run well. If I couldn't win, I wanted to run well for John's family and for John. And it's like the car was just perfect, Josh. Like it was, I want to say it felt like it was driving by itself. It was just like everything I wanted that car to do that night, it did it. And that hasn't happened in a while for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's just a weird. It's just weird that it happened that way.
I also
you and Elliot were running side by side, pulling away from second and third.
And here's the thing too. It was pointed out to me too. John used to sponsor Elliot too.
Yeah.
And make things even weirder, John used to sponsor Anthony Cecily too.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
And he won too. Come on, Josh. There's a God.
No. Whoa, Scott. If nothing else, I mean, there are things I can't explain. I mean, that's why we have a one episode long other podcast about.
Yeah, let's just have Mr. Bigfoot doesn't exist. Now all of a sudden,
maybe Bigfoot was on the back straightaway.
There is God. Sure there's no Bigfoot. Jesus Christ.
We won for John. Maybe John sent Bigfoot down to make sure we won.
But Scott, what about like karma or something? Like you had a few you were leading and had the right front hub break?
Right. I was also leading in one night too, and my exhaust manifold broke.
Yeah, exactly. You've had the crap luck, and now you had it all go right. Maybe that's just the balance
John
of
Gasko's night. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But it's the balance of karma. So you had some bad, and then a night that it means something. That's when it comes back to get you the good way. It's that balance.
Okay.
And I'd say
honestly, Josh, when I laid down in bed that night, I felt weird. It felt weird. Because Josh, it was just like I could put my car on the track anywhere I wanted it. I could go into the corner as hard as I wanted. I could pick the throttle up as quick as I wanted. It was just amazing how good my car was. It's the best that car has been in a very, very long time. On John Gasko night. And you want me to tell the story real quick of how I got this car and how me and John were partners?
Yeah, please do.
It was John Gasko Memorial Night. John passed away, 94 lapper. John's number was 94. Did you see, real quick, did you see we had the door in Victory Lane too?
I have to buy a picture from Pat McKee.
I can't pronounce Matt's last name, so you're going to have to pronounce it.
Gordagno.
Okay, Matt, he used to come here from Staten Island and race. He has now moved, I think, Connecticut or upstate New York. He lives up by Bethel Speedway somewhere, but I'm not sure if he's on the Connecticut side or the New York side. Do you know where he lives now, Josh?
I don't know the specifics. I'll reach out, or if he listens, he'll bother me about it. I think he lives on
Connecticut, but the Connecticut, New York, upstate border, I think, where he lives, because he does come over, and when I race at Bethel, he will come over and help. He showed up in tech with a pristine John Gasko door off one of John Gasko's number 94 factory stocks.
Can we, Scott, let's add to this, too, that you've raced Enduros with John. I think I did as well. I know I ran some Enduros at least with you. Matt ran Enduros with us. I mean, this is we've all raced with John Gasko.
He bought one of John's old cars and he put a new body on it. He kept the door and he actually touched it up
it looked beautiful. It looked immaculate.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah, so he bought it to the track to give to the family and have it in Victory Lane, which I thought was really cool. So I want to thank Matt for that. Matt used to drive the 83 factory stock at Wall Stadium for people that didn't know. Anyway.
He also used to have a ponytail. If you did, you would find him because he was so short. The only way you could find him was that ponytail waving around.
Anyway, John raced, like Josh said, for years in the factory stocks and the Enduros, and he sold the car. Got out of racing for a little while. Then he came to me one day. He's like, you know what? Bridgeport had like a simple 5-race Enduro series. It was on Friday nights. I was racing Wall on Saturday nights. John's like, I want to buy an Enduro car for Bridgeport. Will you help me with it? I said, yeah, it's on Friday nights. I don't race till Saturday. I said, buy a car. I'll do all the work on it, John. I'll take care of the whole thing. Like, you buy the car, you drop it off at my house. I'll work on it. I'll take care of it. I'll tow it to the track. I'll have it 100% ready for you. All you got to do is drive and show up and drive it. He said, fine. So we bought the car off of Dave Schultz. And it was a beautiful white number 24 car. I got it running pretty good. And John showed up the first night down at Bridgeport. He drove the car. I think he finished second or third with it. He ran very well with it. And he had a great time. Second race of the year shows up. I bring the car back down there. He shows up, races again, finishes third or fourth, had a great time. Well, now he's into he was a farmer, so now he's into like his selling season. Like the plants are growing, now it's time to sell. So he's like, Scott, take the car down there, but bring your stuff. I don't know if I'm going to make it down there. If I don't make it down there, you just drive it. I'm like, all right, fine. So I took it down there. He didn't show up. I drove it. Well, that went on for the rest of the year. I drove it the next 3 races. Then it literally sat in my driveway for 2 years. And I was still, the car that Nancy drives now, I was racing that at Wall. And I just called John one day. I said, what do you want to do with this car? He's like, I'm starting a family. I'm getting married. We're going to have a kid. I don't have time to race anymore. You take the car. You do whatever you want with it. Make it a winner. Run Enduros with it. Make it a factory stock. Whatever you want to do with it. I don't care. Just take it and you take it over. I said, all right, great. So that's the car I'm racing now. Nancy started driving my other car. I started driving John's car after. I had to fix it up and make it into a factory stock. So that's another weird thing. Like, Josh, he flat out told me, take that car and make it a winner.
Yeah.
And what did I do on his race?
I know.
It's crazy, man.
That car was built in California, wasn't it?
That car was built in California, but it was a true Enduro car. It was a 4-point cage, meaning it just had. Oh,
I remember that story about where
it just had the cage. It just had a cage in the center. It didn't have the front bars. It didn't have the rear bars, but it was very well built and a nice car, So I had to make it New Jersey legal, factory stock legal, stuff like that. So, I mean, I have pictures of basically it was just a frame with a body and a cage in it. And I had to put a different motor in it, transmission, different rear end, But, it was still mine and John's car together, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what made the race really special that I wanted. It was basically a car that was John and mine, so we were partners. And, you know what I'm saying? Still has John Gasko on the hood, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
So there was Tim had an idea for tonight's show, and we were going to kind of surprise you by playing back your Victory Lane speech.
Oh God!
But
that didn't go well.
Well, you've kind of already redone it by telling the story about the car and everything. So I will forego that. I'm going to share it via the page later.
Yeah.
I did get a nice couple pictures of you right after you won there. But Scott, I've personally seen you emotional in Victory Lane twice. Once being a little ticked off, and the other being just kind of overcome with emotion. And that was this race, because I know that car and John, John meant a lot to all of us, but I know that you had a much closer relationship with him, and I know you needed a moment to gather yourself, and that was just, it just added to what that night meant. And to honor John, and in front of such a great crowd, with a great race. I mean, the factory stocks, on top of that, behaved themselves and had this great green flag run.
And everybody that came out congratulating me said, same thing. If I couldn't win it, it was meant for you to win.
Yeah,
it was your.
You got it.
Yeah.
Could you hear the people cheering when you were driving down the front stretch?
That was cool, wasn't it? What I did was I thought about it for a minute, and I'm like, you know what? The reason I did that is John was a huge Dale Earnhardt fan. He was always like, do it for Dale.
Right.
Three for Dale. That was always to the point at his wedding. They had a Dale Earnhardt cake, and it said "Do it for Dale" and the 3 on it and everything like that. Like, he was a huge Dale Earnhardt fan. So I wanted to do the Polish victory lap with the 3 fingers out the window, like everybody did after Dale Sr. passed away in the Cup season.
But wasn't that originally a Kowicki thing?
Well, yeah. Alan Kowicki did the reverse Polish lap, but then when Dale Sr. died, people would hold 3 fingers out the window.
Oh yeah, they did it with the
Kowicki
3
Polish lap. So you're honoring Alan, plus you're honoring Earnhardt by putting 3 fingers out the window. So I wanted to do that for John. And the good thing about doing it that way is now you're facing the fans. You can see them.
Yeah.
And it was cool because when I went all the way to turn 1, started right at the beginning, and people were cheering like crazy when I was going on the front straight. Then when I got to the flag stand, they handed me the checker flag. So then I stopped with the 3 fingers out the window and did the checker flag the rest of the way. But it was cool being able to see people and they're waving and cheering. It was neat,
It's funny, and I don't say things like this lightly, but it's on the short track level, on the local level. I mean, people do neat stuff and they have fun, and you'll see burnouts and all that. But to do something classy like that, and even kind of off the cuff and still being that classy, I mean, that really speaks to who you are and what this meant as well. So,
well, when Scott went down there and parked in turn 1, everybody's like, he's going to do a burnout. He's going to do a burnout. You'll never see me do a burnout. Listen. And I go, there is no way my brother's going to do burnout. First of all, he's not going to tear up his stuff. Second of all, he's too cheap. I should put valve springs on it and new tires on after.
You're exactly right.
And it's not, and like Dale Earnhardt said, you drive that car that car kept itself together for you for the whole race. The last thing that you do is beat it up after it's over.
You'll never see me tear up a race car doing donuts.
Yeah. And I wanted to add to the emotional
for the rich kids.
I wanted to add to the emotional part of it. After the races were over, like Bailey's hero right now, it was Kyle Busch, but now it's Haley Deegan. She's all in love with Haley Deegan. Scott is Alexis' hero. All she wants to do is drive the 09. That's all she wants to do. And after the race, she goes, "Daddy, Uncle Scott was crying. Have you ever seen Uncle Scott cry?" And I've never. I go, "Yeah, one time we were little, I punched him in the nose and he started crying." she's like,
what the weird part was? Like, the whole time, like, I pulled down the turn 1 and I thought about it a second. It was a special moment, but people thought I was crying sitting down there. I wasn't. I was literally taking my helmet off and my window net down just so I can see the fans when I went down the track. Mm-hmm. I was totally fine. Like, I saw Nancy, I was laughing, hugging her. Like I was in a little bit of shock that not that I won the race, but
it was a lot to take in.
I wasn't wouldn't say I won it easily, but I pretty much dominated. Like it was like kind of like a shock that I won that way. And I was explaining that before. It was just a shock that the car ran so good and worked so good, to the part it's kind of weird that, that it worked so good that way on John's night.
Oh yeah.
I was fine, man. Like I was in good spirits. I wanted to remember to thank the Gasko family because I knew they were there. I wanted to make that little joke that I still have cars up on their farm because I still do have cars up on their farm. I never, the only one that gave me permission to put them there was John, and John's not here anymore. They got a beautiful 49-acre farm up in Monroe up there, and I got
she probably doesn't even know they're there. 5
or 6 junk cars on there, and they haven't even called me and say, "Hey, come get these cars out of here." They're still sitting there. So I wanted to remember, make a little joke about that. And I tell you, I was perfectly fine until Jeff put that mic in my face, and I had to say something. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So I just leaned in my car and got my water bottle, took a sip of water, and then I was okay again.
But I mean, I think that was. I know that it feels awkward, and you're like, "Oh crap!" You're trying to figure out and put the words together, but for the fans, it shows what it meant and how important it was, and I think that's. That is just an ultimate show. It's a silence well placed is a beautiful sound.
Yeah, and another joke me and John had going. No matter what happened, if it was good or bad, we got milkshakes. If we had a good night at the track, we went and got a milkshake. If we won, we went and got a milkshake. If we flipped on the back straightaway, we went and got a milkshake. Me and him got in an argument about something stupid. Screw it. Let's go get a milkshake. I wanted to say something about milkshakes, and I forgot. I wanted to say something. Everybody go home and have a milkshake for John Gasko.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot.
I'm sure John had a cheeseburger to wash that milkshake down.
And then Sunday, I actually wanted to take the trophies up to his gravesite and sit there and drink a milkshake. But honestly, I was exhausted. By the time I got done unloading the cars and work, because they tore us down pretty good in tech. So I wanted to, while it was fresh in my mind, I wanted to go over everything I put back in the car after tech to make sure it was tight and on right and everything like that. And by the time I was done with that, I was too tired to drive up to Monroe to go to his gravesite. But I'm going to get up there one of these days with the trophies.
Scott, while we're on that subject, what did they tech?
They made put the car up on 4 jack stands, and they made us pull the rear pumpkin cover off to make sure we have the open rear, not like a limited slip or anything like that.
All right, so they can't check that by just spinning one?
They can. That shows if it's a locked rear, but it doesn't show if you have a true track or a special type posi rear,
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right.
They want to physically pull the cover off to see what we had going on in there. He checked the torque converters. He made us pull the valve cover off. He checked all the valve springs. He made us pull the carburetor off. They checked the carburetor. They took a fuel sample. He didn't make us pull front springs, but he went in there under there and measured them with a mic, for the thickness of diameter of the springs. He checked our sway bars. It was a list. Whenever there's a big paying race like that, that's when we get checked the most. And I do want to mention that it was a 94 lapper. So what the track did is they paid $940 in honor of John. That's a pretty good payday for us factory stock guys. Yes. And I got $100 in bonuses as well. So I want to thank everybody that gave bonuses. I know Bryce's Napa gave a pretty good bonus. And like I said, the Kafka family gave a very generous bonus too. I left there with $1,040. That's pretty good for a 94 lap.
For a factory stock race, that's absolutely
two beautiful trophies.
That's where I wouldn't be a good race car driver. I'd win the race car. I ain't doing all that, dude. I tell you,
I was drained. I mean, it's a long day for me. I explained that on here before bringing 2 cars to track. It was warm during the day. It was a 94 lap race. It takes a little out of you. I pull in and I'm like, man, it's like I didn't even get a breath. Like I had to go to my truck and trailer, get jack stands, get a jack, get tools, come over, jack the car. But luckily I have George who helps me. Ronnie Lane Jr. came over and he helped. He pulled the rear cover off for me. So I did have help. But it's just like, then you got to rush out of tech because now the next division's coming in. The poor 4-cylinders were waiting there for a while for us.
They were, yeah.
Yeah, they were waiting a while. So now you got to rush everybody over to Victory Lane. Now you're running over Victory Lane. Then I get down to Victory Lane. You have to go back. Now I got to load everything up. I got home. It's like
is some of that stuff is, Can't they like check the rear like that once and then seal it where you don't have to do that again?
Yeah, but
You know,
sometimes, I mean,
Yeah, some of that would be
seals
nice.
aren't
Scott, what were they looking at with the torque converter?
we're only going to run a stock torque converter. I think it's 10.5 inches or 11 inches or something like that. So they measure the diameter of it.
Oh,
Elliot's pass.
Yeah. If anyone wants to know, I run the Chevy B35 torque converter. That's what I run.
No, well, I remember like the original factory stock rules going back. It said no high stall torque converters or whatever. But
I don't know how you would check for that though. But
yeah,
it's measured to make sure it's I think it's 10.5 or 11 inch. I forget.
Yeah.
They don't know. They just look at it. They know what they're looking
well,
at.
that's the. I mean, are you allowed the lockup? Thing.
No, you're not.
Because I mean, that was kind of a stock thing that came on the.
All right, Josh, stop saying stuff about torque converter because Rob Howard's going to make me pull the transmission out and take the torque converter out. And he's actually going to weigh the thing. And that's a lot.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying. I mean,
Yeah,
it was a very thorough tech. Of course, when you first pull in, they do the weight thing and the left side weight and the camber and all that, and then they pull us off the scales and check everything else. But it because it was a big race, it was our night. It was our special night, so we get special tech.
Oh yeah, no, I understand they would go a little bit deeper on the big.
And Rob Heyer has the brightest flashlight I ever seen known to man. It might as well have been an X-ray machine, Josh. That flashlight, he shined in my eyes. It was so bright. I'm still seeing spots. So.
That's good for squatching.
Yeah,
He's a little guy, boy. He slides under that car. He sees every nut and bolt under that thing.
Oh yeah, no.
Racers, we try to all right. Well, don't put it too high up on a jack stand. He just slithers right under there, boy, with his light. He looks at everything.
Wow.
It was a very thorough tech. It was me, Elliot, and Johnny Carpenter were tech, and we all passed.
Yeah, I think I saw Todd Deege helping out Carpenter.
Yeah.
Who does Elliot's work? He don't do all that, does he?
Chris Hottman, actually. Chris Hottman. Chris does a lot of the tech work in tech.
I got over to tech. Once they opened the pits up to everybody, and Elliot's, Scott's still in his fire suit and everything like that. Elliot's in shorts and a t-shirt, he wasted no time.
He's worried about what appetizers he's got to order at before it closes.
But Chris Hottman does most of the tech for Elliot's car, and he also has Justin Robiani, who's a mechanic at Jackson Auto Repair in on County Line Road in Jackson. He helps with the tech too, and Tom Francisi. Remember Tom Francisi?
Yeah.
Josh?
Yeah.
He used to race with Felix and them in the old factory stock days. He also helps Elliot over there. Big Marty usually does the tech too, but Big Marty was actually in Florida.
Yeah, I didn't see Marty. There was a few faces that I thought I'd see, and I didn't.
All right, well, that's a half hour on the factory stock.
Yeah.
Well, I got
for another half hour.
I got two things I want to add to the factory stock. One is kudos to Elliot hanging in for us fat guys. That's a long race for Elliot. Good thing he held out there. I figured he would have hot dogs and sodas taped to the dashboard to make it to the end.
Now, Tim, I mean, you guys can see stuff better than what's going on from the grandstands than I can. I noticed under the caution, Elliot pulled in the infield. Did you see that?
No, I didn't notice that.
Oh,
yeah, he did. Oh, his scanner fell off. They put his scanner back on.
Okay.
I heard about this from I talked to Tim O'Shea about it, and he's like, yeah, they don't do it for anybody else. You pull in and they help.
He pulled in and stopped, and then he was in the infield.
It was a scanner. Now I'm very sticker with the rules and everything.
I would have never done that. I just would have raced without the scanner.
That's a safety issue.
I'd be afraid if you stopped, you get put to the rear.
That's a safety issue. It has nothing to do with the performance of the race car.
Yeah, I understand it, but
yeah,
I mean, if you go by NASCAR rules, you're supposed to be able to keep pace under the caution.
Well, yeah, but he pulled down into the.
Yeah. I'm fine with it. I just he's in the infield. That's one less car I got to beat.
I actually had once and I think it was enduro style at least. I ran into the back of Koenig so hard that my receiver flew off of where it was clipped to and came disconnected, and I had no idea where I was supposed to start, so I did pull down where am I supposed to go?
If it would have been like a fender falling off or a hood coming up, then that's one thing.
Okay.
But that's a safety thing.
I just could have sworn I seen him pull in the infield and stop, and the next thing I know,
he did.
Okay.
And they were quick to announce over the PA system that it was okay. Yeah, that was fine. And so good for Elliot, hanging in there for us fat guys. He made it to the end of the race. And the other thing is that you said how you won that race very easily. The next day, Sunday Series, Alexis was so motivated she won by a straightaway and a half.
Oh my God!
So she was focused. She wanted to win because you won the night before.
Well, here you go, Josh.
Yeah, that's another 09 in Victory Lane that weekend.
Another 09 that John used to race karts like that.
Your family.
In my family. You want to even go crazier? We have cousins that race go-karts out in Pittsburgh at I think it's called Flat Track Raceway or something like that.
Okay.
Or Flat Rock or something like that. They all won.
No way.
And Sammy used to live with John.
Sammy, the house that John lived in before he passed away, where his wife and kid live now, they used to rent it to my cousin Sammy, and he won his race. You want me to go a step further, Josh?
Yeah, please.
You're gonna go to church this Sunday. I'm telling you. My cousin Georgie, who was the crew chief when I drove Gasko's modified, is big into RC racing now. Guess what happened this weekend, Josh? He won his RC race.
Jeez.
You know what? Riggerwood didn't get a damn thing or win anything or got lucky with me.
But you can make up for it, Tim, by having a milkshake.
I have those all the time. That doesn't seem to
So, I'm telling you, Josh.
Tim, treat yourself. Go to the Shake Shack. Go to the rest area Shake Shack or something. Do something nice.
It just got.
Uncle Scott would $1,100. You can come buy us all milkshakes tomorrow.
1,040. That's all I want. And,
I'll take the 40.
Cool? This is kind of weird too. Not only did I win 1,040, but I didn't really pay to get in because I used my wristband from a rain out a month ago. So that was nice too.
Which all said and done with the wristbands and stuff, that was something they didn't have to do.
No, they did.
No, I know they did. I know they did, but they didn't have to do that. That was a good courtesy on them. That
no, not really, because we didn't race. I mean, we didn't race.
Yeah, well, technically, back in the day, it made it when Jay Nichols on the track. If it made it to intermission, he raced the rover, you were done. Mm. They made it to intermission that night when it started to rain.
Yeah, but she did put in a press release that day.
Yeah, and I know. I'm saying, but
rain checks were good to the third feature.
Yeah. But
because she wanted people to come because there was such a high probability of rain that night.
Yeah, I'm saying that's a good thing. Well,
all right, that's an hour of the factory stocks. I was very honored to win the John Gasko, the first annual John Gasko race.
It was an important race. It was a good race, and I know we still have a division left to talk about. But overall, it was a great night of racing, and it had an immense crowd. And I'm going to hope that they enjoyed themselves and are going to come back.
All right, Josh, something else weird. It was also first responders night. John was a fireman.
Real? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was a fireman. Yep.
Wow. What Monroe or?
I think he was on the north side of Monroe. I think it was more Sayreville. I think he was with Brian Jakowski. Okay. Wherever Brian and his father Tony were firemen, that's where John went. Because he was friends with him.
I had no idea. I never knew that about him. Okay, all right. All right. So let's do the top 10. How about that?
Okay.
So we had. Let's also mention we had 18 factory stocks. I really thought we'd have a few more. I found out. Not that I was going to have a car ready, but I found out a little late on this whole thing. So anyway, as we all know by this point, Scott won. Elliot Wall in second, Johnny Carpenter in third, Brian O'Shea, Billy Both, Mike Montano, Nick Catone, Doug Ashford, Matt Bedessa, and Brian Osborne are your top 10.
And Nancy finished 12th. She was 3 laps down, but she had a great run too.
3 laps in a 94 lap race with 1 caution. I think she did all right.
The fast guys up front. Yeah, that's really, really good. And it's the longest race she's run too. So she was very excited about that too.
Speaking of which, that makes me a loser Saturday night because we took bets on how many laps Nancy was going to be down. And I said 5. I lost.
Really? Another thing too. Another thing too that the quarter midgets did. they let the kids draw out of the hat. All right, Josh, this is going to get weird again. They let the kids draw out of the hat. I think this was through Bryce's Napa as well. They let the kids draw numbers out of the hat. And if that car won, they got a set of tires for their quarter midget. And George Reynolds is my crew chief. His brother, Mark, is married to Faith Schwartz. Her grandson or nephew races quarter midgets. They pulled my number out of the hat.
Oh, cool.
Tires. Yeah. Yeah, and Howard Schwartz, I actually tow for his company. I actually moved the lift for him today. He told me today, he's like, he wants a set of tires Saturday night. He told me the whole story, so that was pretty cool.
And they're related to Chris Schwartz, I'm guessing?
No.
Okay.
None of them. Not that I know of, anyway. But Pride Connor and all them, who works at Manly, where Manly sponsors me, so we were all tied together. So it was pretty cool that they pulled my number to begin with, and then I was able to win and get them a set of tires as well.
Okay.
Pride was at Wall Saturday?
For the quarter midgets during the day.
Wow.
So.
All right. So finally, we were off the factory stocks.
Yeah.
Sorry, we went so long, but we can talk about the factory stocks.
It was their night. It was their night.
It was their night. All right. So on the ketchup packs, I went into a quick check the other day, coming home from the John Gasko race, and there was no ketchup packs there. There was mayo packs, mustard, but no ketchup packs. So
did they have the ketchup in the pumper?
I would never use a pumper ketchup machine. It's got to be a sealed pack for me. I'm sorry.
Especially this day and age, yeah.
All right, Josh.
I always got ketchup. Whenever I use those ketchup things, I was the guy that got it where it blew up all over you because it was a big air bubble left in it.
Or they have no lids for those little cups, and you just spill them in your car anyway. So yeah, I stay away from the ketchup pumper machine. I had ketchup at home, Josh. That was fun.
The only place I use a ketchup pumper is Roy Rogers Fixins Bar.
Ooh,
but
I can
the
go
real
for
reason
some Roy Rogers.
we're out of ketchup pack shortage is because they got rid of the ketchup pumpers, right? Because of COVID, right? And they had to go to
Yeah. So they switched all the packets, and now they're
All right, next down the hill was the four cylinders. What do they call them? Fast Fours?
Yes.
How many cars did the Fast Fours have?
14.
Oh, that's good. That's a good turnout for them.
It's not bad.
I tell you what, those guys had to wait a long time for their feature because they sat through a lot of racing to get to their feature.
Yeah, they did.
It was a little messy there for a while, too. There was a lot of spin outs and stuff.
Oh, in the four-cylinder race, or was it? I didn't get to watch any of that. I was involved in tech.
Yeah, rub it in. No, the four-cylinder race wasn't too bad. Once they got strung out, I guess it wasn't as exciting, but they settled in and ran their. There was a couple good battles going on a little bit farther back in the pack, so they were actually pretty fun to watch. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There were a couple guys that ended up, kind of close to the wall or facing the wrong direction in turn 4 and stuff like that. Like you said, the spin outs and whatnot. Not too much carnage though. More just cosmetic stuff. Overall, not a bad race. Nothing super exciting to write home about, but a good solid race. So I'll go with the top 10 there. I apologize if I didn't talk about them enough because we just spent however long in the factories. But Ryan Marr gets the win.
He's kicking ass in that car.
Yes, he is. Then Alonso Morales, who's always been strong in second. Ian Ashford, Mike Lavery, who his car sounded off. I know it's a little beat up and all that, but it definitely sounded worse than it looked, if that means anything. Billy Prost, Alex Gretz, Nicole Rosano, Bill Schwartz, and Cody Critelli, and Richard Smith. That's your top 10. Cody Critelli had a pretty good run going. He had a nice battle I got to watch. But I kept getting drawn back to Lavery with that poor beat up car. But I That's really all I have on the 4-cylinders. I do want to
just out of curiosity, Josh, did Ryan Moore cry during his victory lane speech down there or no?
What are we going for a record here?
I just want to see if I was the only one that cried in victory lane.
No, Buddy Slow did.
Oh, did he? Okay,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah. You weren't the only one. God. So I'm really regretting not bringing a camera to film everything, but you got your new buddy James to film for you. So
what? Oh, by the way, I do want to mention that my in-car camera is on my Facebook page. It was filmed by James Gerald. I think he goes under J Gerald Photos. It had like over 1,000 views already, Josh. It was a lot of people are watching. I thought
that's because that kid's famous.
Yeah,
I did factory stock videos for years. I get absolute jack for credit and views. But
what racing is? It's what have you done for me lately? Sport.
He's like the Andy Warhol. He's the Andy Warhol of Wall Stadium.
Yeah. He does one freaking video and boom, views. Yeah.
But I tell you what, I put my in-car cameras up on my Facebook page and YouTube. I'm lucky if I get over 100. This one's at 1,000 already, Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. If I had a good factory stock video with like a great clickbait screenshot, 3 wide racing and a great title and all that, I might get like a couple hundred views, like 300 views, 500 views. And yeah, he's at 1,000 with a single angle in car. I'm not bitter.
Crooked.
Yeah. So, real quick, I also want to bring up for the Sunday series here, email from
Quickly,
Tom
Josh,
Irvin.
10 o'clock already.
Yeah, Tom Irvin. This just real quick. Finishing order. Tom Irvin, Mike Brennan, Mike Fox Jr., Josh Berry, Jim Van Dyne, Richie Tzinski, Corinne Kazmierski, Jay Smith, and Mike Turton. Sorry, they love throwing these names at me. But yeah, so I just wanted to cover that real quick. I didn't see anything from the Friday Night Lights, but I think the quarter midgets were doing their thing Saturday, as you were talking about with Cecily parking next to the fuel truck so he could be first out after the night was over. Yeah, so that covers.
Tim, anything with the food? Anything you want to talk about the food in the concession stands?
Scott, it was so crowded, I never even went over to look.
Oh, I did get a sugar cookie with sprinkles from Diane's sweet shop down there. It was good.
The girls got
half of it.
The old photo booth, right?
Yep.
Okay.
The girls did get. They have to have the chicken fingers and French fries from there because they're the best chicken fingers in the state of New Jersey, and we always get fried Oreos from Debbie O.
For the life of me, I'll never figure out why Wall Stadium doesn't do what baseball stadiums do and have a guy walking around selling hot dogs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hamburgers, hot dogs, they would sell.
They absolutely would sell. 100%, Scott. I support that fully. I did take a few pictures while I was waiting for the food to get prepped. They had a few specials, jalapeno poppers. It was the stuff with the deep fried jalapeno slices with the stuff with cheddar cheese.
Not
cream cheese. These were cheddar. No, because there's two types. You have the cream cheese and you have the cheddar. They had the cheddar. Some people
better.
Yeah, so do I, but still, they had
with a ketchup pack. I put a little ketchup on it.
Yeah,
cool it down a little bit.
Actually, I love corn nuggets. I didn't see them there.
Yeah, me too.
That's right. I forgot. I got you into corn nuggets.
You got me into corn nuggets.
Pulled pork and mac and cheese sandwich. I heard that was pretty good. I heard somebody had the pulled pork and was really happy. That was $8. Oh, the jalapeno poppers were $4. They had chicken noodle soup for $4.
It got chilly at night too. I can see having some chicken noodle soup at the.
Oh yeah, I could go with well, they have the homemade soup or chili for $4. That would be good. It was a cool night. I had my hoodie on for the first time, this season, and that it felt good.
They used to have that corn chowder there. People used to line up for that. Remember, Scott?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want to give a shout out because so you have your typical hamburger or cheeseburger, then they have a veggie burger if you want, and now they have the Impossible Burger.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I want to give them credit for trying.
I saw a funny meme on Facebook. If vegetarians love plants so much, why do they make them taste like meat?
Yeah. No, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying.
Listen,
I'm giving
on John Gasko night. They shouldn't have a veggie burger. All right? It's just...
Well, this isn't even on the specials. This is just their regular menu.
Well, they should have had a buffet for this John Gasko night.
Yeah,
with milkshakes.
Oh God! You know what? I mean, kind of like Cliff's memorial service, right?
Right.
With
right.
the buffet. Yeah.
And also, you're talking about the vegetarian part of the regular concession stands. In Diane's sweet shop too, she also has vegan desserts as well.
Okay.
You have milk?
You know what? I didn't see milk, Tim. They do have iced coffee.
Fried?
Okay, that works.
Wait.
Yeah.
Fried pierogies? Damn.
Yeah.
That's one thing. They got a large menu there.
The one thing you forgot to mention in John Gasko, all that he was famous for those pig roasts. If you missed out on it, if you never went to one of those in the racing community, you missed out on a good time because they were.
I went to a bonfire one night, and they ended up driving a golf cart through a tower of burning pallets.
Yeah, there was a video of that, wasn't there?
I think so.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing a video of that.
I think Brittany Tomato posted it, if I remember correctly. But that's going back a few years. Other than that, their pulled pork sandwich, your meatball sandwich. I mean, a lot, but the prices are reasonable too. That's the other huge thing for a racetrack. Like one of the more expensive things is the Impossible Burger, and that's still only $6. The cheeseburger $5, and in New Jersey, in that area of New Jersey, that's not a bad price.
In all honesty, the Impossible Burger probably costs them more to buy. It's a specialty item.
Yeah, exactly. Depending on how many they have in stock.
Now they definitely do concessions right at Wall Stadium. I just think on those packed nights it would be a good idea to have a couple kids walking around with those food trays selling burgers and stuff and hot dogs.
Oh yeah. Throw some burgers, throw some hot dogs, or cotton candy, or I don't know, freaking churros or something. I don't know.
Sometimes you got to bring the food to the people. If you're walking past, they'll buy it.
Oh yeah. Compared to waiting in line. Oh wait, the food's right here, and and then on top of that, the kids will probably get tips and everything. Yeah, it would work out great. I support that. 100%.
All right, guys, it's 10:01. I got to get going here. Quick, what have we learned, or you want to skip it?
No, I want to do it. Let's start with Tim. What did you learn today, buddy?
First thing I want to mention that apparently Warren's got COVID, so hopefully he makes
that. Yeah,
he's up there in age, so my man's had his arm ripped off in an Indy car, and he's throwing it back on, and hope he doesn't die from the COVID. He's lived through so much. And the other thing I wanted to mention real quick is the shooting at that track down south.
Oh yeah,
they said that was an ongoing conflict away from the racetrack, and the two people happened just to meet at the racetrack.
Did you ever race at that track?
So let's bring our guns.
No, it's
never raced to Friendship.
I just want to say so let's bring our guns to Friendship Speedway. Jesus effing Christ!
But it wasn't race car related at all. It was an off track.
It's a Hatfields McCoys.
Yeah.
Jesus, idiots.
He said it happened right in Victory Lane too. It was crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, from that picture that was shown, that was right on the front stretch, and I don't know, people are freaking stupid.
What have you learned, Josh? I gotta get going.
I thought I was going first.
Oh yeah, Tim, did you learn anything other than the Friendship Speedway?
I did. And first, I want to dedicate this podcast to Eddie Estelle. He's been coming up to me for the last 3 weeks, wanting to know where his podcast is. Well, this is your podcast, Eddie Estelle. This one's for you.
I saw Eddie Estelle today on Route 37. He was beeping the horn and waving at me.
So this one's for you, Eddie. I learned that Josh likes his pork pulled at the Speedway.
Yeah.
I learned that Uncle Scott does cry. I've never seen that in my life. And I learned that that Johnny Gasko was well represented. There was a lot of people there that were emotional that night. So he has been missed, and that's what I've learned.
Definitely. All right, Scott, what did you learn?
Nothing really.
You've had a lot going on for the past couple days, so I'll let it slide. All right, so today I learned that the modified tires were getting blue balls. I learned that Elliott wanted to be number 2. That's for the halfway.
Yeah.
And I got 2 more. I got God sent Bigfoot to make Scott win.
John sent Bigfoot to make Scott win.
Okay. And I learned that Scott can't pump. So,
all right, guys. Well, that wraps up episode 195 of the RPM podcast. I will not be here next week. We are leaving to go to Florida on Thursday, and I'll be home Tuesday, and so I won't be at the races Saturday. So, if anybody wants to guest host, let my brother or Josh know. Here's your chance. You want to guest host the RPM podcast? Contact Josh or my brother, and they'll set you up. And
if you can do it better, let us know, and we'll bring you on.
You can either set up like we do through go-to meetings, or you can drive to Josh's house and sit with him in the studio. The only thing we ask is if you go to Wall Stadium to watch the race, of course. So
do you and Josh want to give me a recommendation of somebody, and I'll see if I can get him to do it?
Whatever you want.
There was actually oh God, I forgot Terry. I forgot his last name. Not Terry Kane. He was friends with your father. Ran at Wall for a few years, way back. I'll have to see if my dad remembers his last name. He mentioned that he watches the podcast and that he enjoys seeing my washer and dryer.
So if anybody wants to guest host next week, you're more than welcome to.
Put in the comments who you wanted to do it or something.
Yeah. Let's have a contest. I think Blake Barney is going to be our next host. That's my bet.
Just be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. I was a guest host for a while, too. The main host. All right, guys. It was fun. It's been a while since we did a podcast. I'm glad we did it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Good night.
If you made it this far, thanks for listening to the whole thing.
Go to Wall.
Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Apparently Warren didn't, and he got sick. So.
Go to Wall. Don't go to Florida with the alligators and old people like Scott.
Factory socks are off next week. Just a reminder. Factory socks are off.
Yeah. Have a good one.
All right. Good night,
Good
guys.
night.
All right, good night.